cat.
Good evening and welcome to Posse Presents. With me tonight is Greg Sarris. Greg, thank you for joining me again.
My pleasure.
It's been a while since you've been on, and
Yes.
we've got some good stuff to talk about. But before we get started, I just want to give a special shout out to Jerry Fogno, who is my godson's mother and a good friend. Today is her birthday.
Nice.
So happy birthday, Jerry. It was also my grandfather's birthday. He would have been 103 today.
Wow.
So, of course, the probability just wasn't there.
Yeah.
We lost him in '93. He was a sick man, but thinking of him today, too. I was named after him. He was Theodore.
Oh, okay.
So that's, if anybody wonders how I got stuck with this name.
It's a good Greek name.
it's a real good Greek name,
Yes.
but he was known as Teddy. So to avoid the confusion, I got stuck with Theo.
Okay.
I thought that was very unfair as I grew up. You know,
Another piece of the puzzle fits in a place.
Yes, exactly. I would have much preferred the Teddy all these years, but, you know, whatever, we deal with it. You know, we do what we got to do. Anyway, we are here tonight to talk about the Cheshire Dog Park.
Yep.
Which is something that you have been involved with.
Yep.
And, you know, give us some background. What led to the idea?
There's a group of residents in Cheshire who got together a couple years ago and started working to get this 4-acre piece of property next to the town garage on Route 70 in Cheshire to be a town park for dogs. And they've been doing it for 3 years. They've been raising funds. They've been doing really good. They've had a lot of projects that they've been doing. It's going to be all fenced in. It's right next to what is called Arts Place, which is owned by the town. And at one of the fundraisers that I had for Foster and Forever Pet Rescue, a lot of those people had come to give us support. And then I just recently had gotten on board to help them out and work with them for their project.
So it was one of those things where, you know, you were doing one thing and you ran into people from another thing and
like
you kind of got
interests, and I knew
involved.
some of the people, so
Yeah.
it was a good synergy to
Didn't you tell me like you went to school with somebody?
I went to school with Lara, who's on it.
Because I think
on
we
it.
kind of talked briefly once about something that you were doing
Yep.
to support the park, and
Yes.
you said you ran into
Yeah,
somebody.
they had a tag sale.
Yeah.
And I had helped. She got me to help
Yeah.
setting up, which
Yeah.
was a lot of work.
I remember that day. I think there was something else going on where it was something.
There was
the ice cream truck, wasn't it?
The doggy ice cream truck.
Yeah,
Yes.
believe it or not, they had a doggy ice cream truck this summer going around, giving out treats for the dogs. And,
Yeah, and that
it
was at
pretty
Cheshire
cool.
Cat and Dog, so I was
Yeah,
kind of running between
exactly.
one to the other.
So how long has the Cheshire Dog Park been in motion? Like, how long have they
They've been working
on
on this now for probably 2.5 to 3 years. They're a nonprofit. They have their nonprofit status. It's 4 acres, and they want to fence the entire property.
Yeah, so there's a lot of work to be done. There's
Yeah.
a lot of background. There's,
Yeah.
you know, you have to do each little piece of the pie as you can.
Yes.
So it's actually been quite a while, and I think that it's only kind of like become more in the public eye recently.
Yes. Yeah, it really has. And then this spring, we're going to do a big push. They're actually going to do
Events.
We're going to have an event there. We're not sure what it's going to be, but we're going to try to do it with like a lot of the local restaurants and maybe do like a taste of either be pizza or chicken wings and have a contest.
Oh, that's cool.
To get more and more people out there, and then you kind of fill out a little ballot.
Yeah.
You know, spiciest, best variety type of things.
Oh, that's interesting. You know, that's not something I think people really do to support a cause like that. You know, usually it's just because, you know, somebody wants to do it and win a prize. But
right.
Yeah,
but
that's pretty cool.
I think the town of Cheshire, I think a lot of the people will really get involved with that and come behind it.
Yeah, that's neat. So what are the visions for the park? I mean, what do they hope for it to be when it's all?
They're hoping for it to be a 4-acre, fully enclosed park.
Okay.
Because as I said, it will be on Route 70, so they are going to have it so dogs will not be able to get out.
Can we show the picture? We have one picture of a piece of the property as it stands now. Zach, if you could put that up.
What it looks like now. That's the 4 acres. and that is the parking lot of Art's Place, and then you're looking at the field, which will be the park. So it's perfect area for it, and we'd be looking at probably, I know that different parks have different things. They have a little gated way, so you can go in there, and then you can take your dog off the leash.
Right, it's like a little entryway where
Yes.
it's like a little smaller section that's
Yep.
gated,
So-
and then you can get your dog kind of like calmed down and off leash without being converged upon by
Yes.
all the other dogs. And
So they'll have that. They'll also have another section which will kind of be an enclosed section, which will be like a timeout section. But people can also use it if they're bringing their dogs for training. So it'll be, the dog will be by itself in there.
Right.
So you can kind of just use it.
Oh, that'll be nice.
Yeah, I know a couple dog parks have that, and it's a nice, you know, you see people training their dogs. So it kind of works out pretty good.
Yeah, and that's kind of like good. We'll take the camera back, Zach. It's kind of a good thing to be able to take a dog where there's some distraction, but
Right.
you're getting the attention, and
Yes.
and then there's the reward of going to play.
Yeah, and it's a
when you're
great
done.
location. There's tons of parking. It's easy to get to. I mean, it's just really good. Cheshire has a big dog community, and in the surrounding towns, there's a lot of people who want to, you know, go to a dog park.
Yeah, I mean, there's
You
people
know.
who are dog park people, and there's people who really aren't. I mean,
Right. Yes.
I'm not a huge fan.
Yep.
Everybody's got their reasons and everybody's got their experiences. I mean, I don't have anything against a dog park personally. It's just, you know, I've used them, and I think most of the complaints I hear are people who don't control their animals.
There are people, yes, who don't control their animals. Unfortunately, no matter what, people are going to be people.
Yeah, people are going to be people, and dogs are going to be dogs, and the people have to
Right.
be right on top
But
of.
there's also a lot of people that I know who go to them to socialize their dogs, so they get better acclimated to dealing with other dogs, and there is a good training experience.
Yeah, it is. I mean, again, there's the fors and the againsts.
Yep.
You know, if you've got people who are out there who are irresponsible about vaccinations and the health of their dog, that
Right.
can be a very big issue.
Yes.
So clearly, I would imagine that, you know, you're going to have rules
Yeah.
for vaccinations and all that. Any plans yet on how you'd
I-
enforce that, or?
Not yet.
And that's a trick question. We
Yeah.
didn't go over that. It
Yeah.
just like came up in the conversation. But yeah, a lot of dog parks. I mean, I wrote an article.
Yeah.
I don't know if you had seen that in one of my
one?
columns. Some of the dog parks in Connecticut, and I had to cover like the rules and you know, this and that. So like I've got like a little bit of you know, some of them have like the little doggy pools in the summer,
Yep,
and
okay.
some of them have like the smaller dog area and the larger dog area. We were just having this little conversation just before we went on the air,
Yep.
so that the little dogs aren't bowled over and overwhelmed by
Right.
the bigger dogs. And you know, yeah, if you've got a dog who's maybe not really good with the other dogs, you have a place for him to go.
Right.
So there's a lot of options for a park, and I'm sure like you guys might even kind of change it as you go along.
As we go along, yeah, as we get closer to, right now the big drive that we're doing is to get the money for the fencing, because we just have a lot of stuff to do. So once the fencing gets once we are able to get the fencing, then we'll actually have it laid out, and then
Right,
we'll be
and then
able
you
to
can
figure
make
out.
the
Yeah, we'll
plans
be
for
able
how
to
you-
figure out
right.
how to actually, what sections to make.
And what do you think? What is the proposed time frame for it to be complete? When can people bring their dogs to the Cheshire Dog Park, Greg? Do you know yet?
We don't know that yet. We still have a lot to do, so we'll know better. I would think in a couple months we'll have a better grasp as to when it will be. And we also, the website gets updated all the time too.
Okay.
So you could go on the website.
All right.
for
So
that.
since we're hitting that territory, what is the website? Give that address out.
CheshireDogPark.com. You can go on there and you can see the exact location. You can see some pictures. Could see different events that they do, and it's a nice group of people. Also, if you want to volunteer and help out, more than happy to have more people help.
Sure.
And get the word out.
Oh yeah, you know, there's a lot to be said for having good people, you know, like
And
shoulder
get
to
the
shoulder
motion,
and
yeah.
get the motion good. People know other people, and you know,
Yes.
you get the exposure, you get the help you need,
Exactly.
and it's a beautiful thing. So, if anybody is interested in finding out more about how you can get involved, once again, we'll give the website one more time.
CheshireDogPark.com.
Okay. That's easy enough to remember.
Yeah, that's easy to remember. You know, it's going to be available for everybody to use, so, you know, it's a great, it's a nice thing. It's not going to be a membership only. You know, it's going to be for the general public.
Okay, so like if someone lives in Waterbury, they'll be able to
They're
come,
more welcome,
or
yes.
Southbury, or, you know, because there's some parks are residents only, and
Right.
you know,
this is not going to be residents only.
You can respect that because you figure you don't want people, you know, if you've got a big population,
Right.
you know, you don't want people coming from all over and, and getting crowded. You know, there's certainly, again, with that article that I wrote, some of the research that I did, you know, they told you like certain hours were better than others because it got crowded. And, you know, I'm sure everybody goes either first thing in the morning or right after work.
Yeah,
after
I think
dinner.
a lot of, especially like on a nice sunny, you know, Sunday, a lot of people go in the morning. I know Southbury Dog Park is packed. I know a lot of people use that 'cause it's a great facility.
Yeah, but I guess
I know
one of
a lot of people drive so far up there for it.
Yeah.
Because there are not a lot of these dog parks.
I guess just one of the downfalls with the Southbury one is that it's not fenced in all around.
Correct.
So
yeah, it's only fenced in, I think, on 2 sides.
Yeah, so of course the bonus will be you've got 4 acres and you're going to fence it all in. So.
Yes, which is why it's just taking longer.
Yeah, well, of course it's a lot to accomplish.
To get done, yeah.
But it's
a beautiful area and it's just fantastic.
Well, Cheshire's a wonderful town. You know, there's a lot of like you said, there are a lot of dog people. There's a lot of support. I get the feeling that Cheshire's just like it's a close-knit community.
Yeah, and it's on the part by Cheshire, which is up by Route 70, which is you can also get off 84 and just come down the hill at exit 26. So it's only probably about a mile and a half from the exit. So if you're driving somewhere, it's easy to get to. So you don't have to go a lot of back roads, so it'd be nice for people.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
You know, it's kind of cool. Like we were saying earlier in our conversation, you're doing one thing and you run into somebody else and you get involved in something else. And
Lara had gotten me involved with it, and and she helped me out with my fundraiser things that I had done with Foster and Forever. She put the word out and told people about it. So and I grew up in Cheshire, so it's nice to be able to help out in the town that I grew up in.
Oh yeah, absolutely. There's a lot to be said for roots. You
yeah,
know?
And to give back to the community, which I think is important. So I'm glad to be able to be a part of it.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, good for you.
Yeah.
Well, one of the other hats that you wear is Foster and Forever.
Yes.
Which is your rescue.
Yes.
And you and Jamie Maslar are doing a great job of helping our animals out and getting them homes. And that's like kudos to you, hats off, because we had you on before as a team.
Yes.
And Jamie couldn't be with us this evening, but
she's out Christmas shopping, so hopefully she's buying me something.
You got that, Jamie?
It was worth a shot.
Yeah. It's always worth a shot, right? Hey, Santa, you listening? But anyway, we've got some kitties that you wanted to profile tonight.
Yes, we had, these were an owner surrender. Jamie had talked to the owner and had gone over to see the condition that they were in, and then Jamie had gotten the lady to agree to surrender the cats to us.
Okay, Zach, can we, you can just scroll through those pictures if you would, and we'll talk about them.
Yep. We have the mother, and then there are 4 kittens. They're doing really well. They, unfortunately, they were in a breezeway, which was very filthy. There was broken glass. So a couple of the cats have cuts and everything, and Jamie's been giving them Epsom bath salts like 3 times a day. I mean, she's just absolutely incredible in taking care of these kittens.
Yeah, she's a cat person.
Oh my God, she's just incredible. So it's just, these kittens are getting the love that they need. They're a little shy, but they're getting used to people and noises. The mother, surprise, surprise, kept getting pregnant because it was an indoor-outdoor cat. And,
there's a shock, right? You don't keep your cat inside, you don't get it spayed, and
exactly. So we'll end up getting the mother spayed. And the kittens have had their shots. They've been going to the vet. So, we are taking applications on the kittens. I think we I think we have like 2 applications that got sent out, but we can always, always happy to take more. And, the kittens are really, they're doing great.
How old are they?
They're about 8 weeks old now.
So they're just
And that's
about
the
ready.
mom.
They're
Yep.
just about ready to leave mom.
Yeah.
Technically,
Yeah.
people.
Well, they
people
have a
kill
couple
me.
cuts, so we're waiting. We're going to
Yeah.
wait a couple more weeks, but we're
People
happy.
kill me with this, 4 weeks old, and
Yeah, exactly.
No,
We're
6 weeks old.
Yeah.
8 weeks old is like basically the prescribed time where socially and physically
Yes.
and mentally and emotionally a young kitten or puppy is
Right.
ready to
Yeah.
face the world without mom.
And we also have we're also getting 2 other kittens from different sources. One, I believe, this weekend, and one next Wednesday.
Okay.
So what we're going to
So
do
you've
is
got
we're
a
going
lot
to
of
put them.
kitties.
We're going to put them with these. So we're going to have the mother. So we're going to have them together for a couple more weeks before we do adopt anyway.
Yeah.
Out.
Okay. So
So
how
they
old
kinda
is mom?
acclimate. I think mom is probably about 3 years old. She's very friendly, very affectionate, just a loving cat. She's Jamie picks her up and holds her. She doesn't have any apprehension about being held or things. I went over, saw her the first time 2 days ago, and she was very affectionate. So she's not aggressive. She's not,
Yeah, she's
feral or
more
anything.
domesticated than feral. Yeah.
Yeah, so she's a real sweet, and she's doing great with these.
I love that little
kittens.
face. Look
Yeah.
at that one.
Yeah,
It almost looks like
that's with the teddy bear.
You woke me up. I was sleeping.
Yep, exactly. So they're doing great.
That's good. They're in good hands with Jamie too. I
Yes.
know that.
Yeah.
They're in really good hands.
Yeah, and we had gotten what we called our Walmart cat that we
Yeah,
had.
I saw that one. It was in the parking lot at Walmart.
Yeah,
Come on.
and the people who adopted that, they unfortunately lost their cat last year.
Aw.
And when the couple came, the husband, who was a guy who you look at, you'd never thought he would say it, but he was holding the cat and he was like, "This is gonna be my new best friend," because the other cat was his best friend, and he brought a picture of him and the other cat, and it was really nice. So the cat has a great home now.
That's good. That's I love the happy endings. So if anybody wants to find out any more about these little babies or any of the other ones that you're saying you've got, or to find out more about Foster and Forever, we'll take the camera back, Zach. How would they get in touch with Foster and Forever?
You can go on our Facebook page, Foster and Forever Pet Rescue, or you can email us at fosterandforever@gmail.com, or you can call me at 860-459-5044. And on our Facebook page, we have pictures of the cats that we have, also other cats and dogs that we've got adopted out. Recently, we've had a string of dogs that we got all adopted out, so we're happy about that.
Yeah, I love you guys always post the happy endings and the adopted.
I think that's a big, important part of animal rescue, to show that, these dogs
It's not all the sad stuff.
Exactly, that these dogs are going, they're getting a forever home, they're being loved, they're being taken care of. And I think that's such an important thing that people need to see, how important that is.
Oh, it is, because, there's a lot of questions that get raised, and recently there have been some, rescues are pulling from the pounds and from shelters and taking dogs in, but then where are they going? Are they being hoarded in that home? Are they being, fostered appropriately? Are they ever getting placed? When they disappear into the sunset, you really have to wonder what's going on. When you post, "This is the dog, we got it, it's available for adoption," now, oh, look, it got a home.
Right.
There's completion, there's a cycle.
Yeah.
And it gives a far greater comfort level for the rescue and for the people behind it, because they're accomplishing something.
Yeah, and some dogs, we had, there was a family who filled out an application. I met them at a friend's cookout this summer, and they wanted a black lab. They filled out an application, and I had called them up one day and forwarded them some pictures from the Middletown shelter. And I never went to the Middletown shelter. I told them this was the dog, and they contacted.
Here's the dog. Go look at it.
They contacted the Middletown shelter. They went up. Peter and his wife went with their 4 children, it was a 7-month-old lab puppy, and the next day, the person from the shelter had called me, and she was just like, I wanted to thank you. These people came here. She said they spoke so highly of you. She said, and they were asking questions, and I could tell that, you know, they said, this is what Greg said for us to ask, and they were educated. So they thought about, they didn't just go and get a dog and then bring it back to the pound a week later and say, oh, the dog barks.
Yeah, too many people are like, yeah, I'm going to go get a dog. Well, what kind of dog? What are you going to do with that dog?
Right.
How are you going to take care of that dog? What kind of dog are you looking for?
What's your level of dog experience?
Yeah, they don't think it through. They just like the idea of having a dog. And, you know, I always say it's you know, like a pair of shoes. You get tired of it and, you know, you throw it in the closet, or a purse, and you don't like it anymore, you give it away. It's a life, and you're responsible for it. And there's got to be, you know, if someone says
you have to
me,
think about, you have to think the entire thing through, because if you look at certain, like on certain Facebook pages, you know, if you look at Hartford Animal Shelter, they just had a dog that had gotten adopted, and then the people returned it like 2 days later, and luckily somebody else who was interested in the dog stepped up and adopted it. But the first people, I mean, it's kind of like, you know, how much do you really think about this?
Yeah, people unfortunately don't think it through, and that's where these dogs and cats end up in trouble.
End up in the shelter.
Yeah, and worse.
Yeah.
You know, because if there's not a safety net, if there's not someone there to pick up those pieces, then, you know, that's an animal's life, basically, because, as we always say, just because a shelter may not have a high kill rate doesn't mean that the clock doesn't start ticking the minute they walk through those doors. Yeah. You know, sooner or later, time's going to be up, whether it's, you know, a 10-day policy like in Hartford, or, you know, 6 or 7 months in New Haven, or anything in between. The clock is ticking.
Yes.
If you know, you've bailed on an animal because you made a poor decision, you're putting that animal absolutely in jeopardy.
Exactly. You're really putting a mark against that dog.
Yeah.
So that's a tough thing, especially because when people hear that the dog had got out and then got returned,
they think something's wrong.
They think it's a red flag, and it's like, what's instead of just that.
Yeah, the red flag is for the people who adopted it.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, that's the sad thing. But, you know, Jamie and I have a reputation that we're really proud of, and we've really been doing well. I got a text on my way here that this girl, Leslie, said she's at the groomers now, getting her dog ready for pictures for Santa. And she adopted a Cocker Spaniel that we had a couple months ago. The dog has had health issues.
And that's a tough one,
and
you never know.
She has stepped up to the plate. Her and her husband has stepped up to the plate like you can't even believe. And I mean, it's so incredible that they're like, no, this is our dog.
Yeah,
and
you
we
never
love
know when you take a dog in.
Right.
Even if you get a puppy, you never know what's going to happen.
Right.
You've got to be prepared for that too.
And she's committed, and it's so.
That's the way it should be.
That's part of the process of the applications. You know, part of the process of the application is, have you had a dog before?
Yeah, what
happened to it? If it died, how did it die?
Yeah, did it get hit by a car because you didn't care?
Yes.
Sometimes accidents happen, but for the people who are vigilant, those incidents would be nil to very little.
Right, but there are some that have one, but you know, if somebody has 2 or 3, then obviously Jamie and I, you know, we have the right to deny an application.
If someone has a track record, or their dog keeps getting hit by a car, or, you know, the last record was of a dog that was only a couple years old, but they don't have it anymore.
Exactly.
That's a red flag.
Yeah. Yes.
You know, if you don't have a dog into old age.
And that's part of what our application process is, you know, we also call up their vet, you know, and go through. You know, we do all of this because this is so important, because we want the dog to find the best home.
Yeah.
We don't want the dog to be put in a bad situation.
Yeah, of course not.
You know, so that's really something that we do work on.
And that's admirable, because, you know, unfortunately there are some places, rescues, whatever you want to call them, that will place a dog with first come, first serve.
Correct.
And I'm not even talking about the pound, because that's a whole different genre.
That's a whole, yes,
but
exactly.
When you've got rescue people, and I keep doing this for reasons.
Yeah, yes.
You know, who just indiscriminately want to, you know, well, yeah, here, take the dog. And, you know,
we tell people
unspayed, unneutered, unvaccinated. I mean, what did you rescue?
Exactly. What are you doing?
What did you accomplish with that?
Right. What are you actually doing?
You just set that dog up to fail.
Correct. Yes.
And that's, to me, that's a miserable thing, and that's not rescue.
Right. So, you know, Jamie and I have been learning so much in the time that we've been doing this, and we work with a lot of different shelters and rescues, and we're learning as we go, and we're doing, you know, we really take our time. We don't just,
I know.
It's like with these kittens, we have a couple applications, but we don't have them in, so we haven't approved them. So we'd love for people to, you know, send in more applications.
Yeah,
because we always do get more kittens. So
the greater the pool you have of people to choose from, the better you can place.
Right.
And then you can also, you know, have like your B list, your waiting list, or, you know, maybe these kittens are better suited for homes you get now, and
correct.
Older cats will be better for someone who applied now for later. There's always a process.
Yeah.
And I have to just, like, I really have to say, you just said, you know, you and Jamie have been learning and growing. I've watched that, and I'm proud of you guys.
Thank you. That means a lot.
I got you. I met you when you were first getting your feet wet, both of you.
Yep.
And you know, I've seen in the last year, you guys have done a really good job. So, for what it's worth, I'm proud of you guys. You guys are doing a good job.
Thank you. It means a lot coming from you. We appreciate it.
Thank you. Who am I?
Yeah.
No. Who am I? Just a crazy redhead, you know.
This is true.
Well.
And one thing certainly is we're not a pet store. Because when people call and say, I want a cat today, we simply tell them, we don't do that.
No, not at all.
Thank you very much, but, you know, that's not us.
Yeah, that's not how we roll.
Yeah, exactly.
And it shouldn't be, you know. I mean, again, it shouldn't be a spur-of-the-moment thing.
Right.
There shouldn't be some emergency, like, I need a cat today. You don't need a cat today. You didn't need it yesterday.
Right.
You didn't, probably not going to need it tomorrow.
And we do a meet and greet. We're big with the meet and greet. Come and see how the animal likes you and how you like the animal.
Yeah.
You know, see if there's synergy there. It's
be a process. It really does.
Exactly, yeah.
All right, so we've got just about a minute left. So I want to give a quick shout out to Katie and Brendan, who helped with Santa pictures today.
Oh, nice.
Katie was our photographer, and Brendan was Santa. He did a bang-up job. We've got 30 seconds. So, Greg, I'm going to say thank you very much. Happy birthday, Brendan. Happy birthday, Patricia Schmidt. One more time. Peace, love, and dogs.
How's that? Did I do it right that time?
You're doing all right, Greg. See, like I said, you're learning.
I'm learning.
I'm
Another 18 times I might actually understand it.
Yeah, right? Oh, I'm never going to understand anything I do, trust me. But
food needs of people in our community.